So let's start with the poem. This is your lecture number 19th, and we'll study English literature. As you already know that we're going to study the daffodils, and the other name for this poem is I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. This is the other name for the same poem. We have already studied the introduction of the poet so many times, but since you have another chance, please listen to it carefully. Excuse me. Please listen to the introduction of the poet again, and please listen to it one more time. And listen to it carefully. I'm sorry, but you know, okay, let's read. This poem is written by the famous English poet William Wordsworth. Famous English poet William Wordsworth. Whenever you try to memorize the name of the poem of the poet, please also memorize that he was an English poet, and this is frequently asked in your blanks as well and in form of MCQs as well, that William Wordsworth was a dash poet, an English poet. It might be asked in form of MCQ or in form of fill up the blanks. So you should know that he was an English poet. That is his nationality. He was an English poet. It doesn't mean that he wrote poems in English. It means that he belonged to England. Okay. He was born in the beautiful Lake District of England in the year 1770. When was he born? He was born in 1770. From his early days, he was very fond of flowers, birds, lakes, rivers, rocks, and trees. This shows that he was very much fond of nature. He used to spend much time enjoying their beauty. He used to take long tours on foot and visit the beautiful natural scenes which he loved so much. He started a new kind of poetry written in simple words and natural objects and simple country people. He died in 1850. He was born in 1770 and he died in 1850. Okay. This introduction is simple, it is written in simple words, and this introduction will be enough if you're asked to write introduction of the poet in exams. They don't ask you to write any much, you know, anything more than they have given you in the book. So it's easy for you to memorize the introductions. There are not many poems in your book, so you can kind of, relate the poet to the poems and try to remember who wrote which poem. Children, they tend to, forget who has written which poem, but you have to, memorize it by linking the name of the poet with something in the poem. उसको link कर लें with something ताकि आपको याद आ जाए कि विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ ने ही लिखी थी डैफोडिल्स. ठीक है. And this date of year of birth, year of death, these are also important. This is everything important and everything about the poet which we are told in the book. This introduction is enough. I gave you a, I told you much more about William Wordsworth when we first time read the poem, but that was just to keep your interest bound. That was just to keep your interest intact. And I don't want you to write that in the introduction if it's asked in your exams. This just this much is enough, and you have to memorize it by heart. Let's move towards the poem now. I don't believe that we should read this poem from the very beginning till the very end, because we've already done it so many times. I just want to reinforce this lesson, and that for that, stanza by stanza reading is fine, because we are going to just do question answers from the poem. And still, if you want me to read it from the beginning till the end, read it completely, read it fully in one go, then you should let me know, and also give me your attendance. Should we read it fully, or will stanza by stanza do it? Give me your attendance if you haven't given me your attendance yet. Stanza wise is fine? Okay. Let's jump on to the first stanza. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. The poet in the first stanza says that he was wandering lonely as a cloud. He has compared himself as a cloud. He has compared himself to a cloud, a lonely cloud that wanders over valleys and hills. Vale is a small valley. Okay. He further says that while he was wandering here and there like a lonely cloud, aimlessly, he came across a host. A host is a crowd. A crowd. Okay. He came across a crowd of golden daffodils. Daffodils are small flowers that grow in early spring in England, and they range from pale yellow to the bright golden color. And the daffodils that the poet saw, they were golden daffodils. They were not yellow daffodils, they were golden daffodils. Okay. And where did he see the daffodils? He saw them beside the lake. Beside means side pe, ki side pe, ke barabar mein. He saw them beside the lake. Lake is jheel. And beneath the tree. Beneath means under the trees. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering is a quick movement, and dancing is a movement which the poet has um, compared the dance of daffodils, compared the movement of the daffodils with the dance. Okay. And they were dancing in the breeze. The weather was fine that day. The weather was a bit windy that day, so he could see that they were moving in the breeze with the air. Okay. Is this paragraph clear? We've done it so many times. I believe that it should be clear by this time. But if there is any difficulty, please let me know. And then we'll move towards um, the question answers. Is it fine? Is everything is clear? If you're going to give more time to the questions and answers this time, so here you are. Here is you know, here is the list of questions that can be asked from the first stanza. Go through it and try answering them. What was the poet doing? What was the poet doing in the first stanza? I want answers from each and every one of you present in the class today. Okay? What was the poet doing in the first stanza? Please be quick. As Ahmad Raza, you're correct. Elsa, your answer is correct. Tomorrow you have your quiz of Shabdul Latif Bitai. I also told you people this last week. But this is just a reminder. I'll also upload your assignment, but since we are one on one in this classroom, I think I should keep reminding you people with the things which are important. Ishwa Beg, your answer is correct. Very good. And what did he see? What did he see? Please notice that we have did in the sentence and we are bound to use second form of verb in our answer. And Nida Sheikh, you've done a wonderful job. Ahmed Raza Anjum, excellent beta. Why aren't you all participating? Abiha Riaz, Ariba Adnan, he saw Elsa, your answer is correct. Abiha Riaz, Arham Raza Tiba, Dua, Ishal, Faizan, Farjad Hazan, Hurrem, Ibtisam, Minhahil Amjad, Saim Haq, Rabia Asif, Taha Wasim, Tawkir, Zarna, please participate. I want answers from each and every one of you, okay? Where were the daffodils? Where did he saw the daffodils? Ahmad Raza Anjum Beta, besides is an adverb. Um, besides, beside is an adverb of place. It is a preposition also, and you have to see the difference between besides and beside before using it in your sentence, because these two words are completely different words. Besides with an s means iske ilawa, mazid ye ke, in addition to this. And beside means at the side of something. So you should know which word you're going to choose, which word is to be chosen. Okay? Beside is something different. Besides is something different. And be very, very careful when you're using words which are similar, because this actually tells you how much you know. I'm sorry to say this, but Elsa, Tokir, Nida, Alishba, Ehsan Raza, Ahmad Raza Anjum. These are the only students who keep participating in every class. And I have now somehow memorized their names, and I somehow know that if I'm asking a question, only these students will come up and come up with the answers, and they'll the only one who will participate. The third one is describe the scene in your own words, and you're not going to you know write more than 3 sentences. Choose the vocabulary that you know the spellings of. Choose the simple sentences. Don't go towards the complex one, because then you'll have to look for the you'll have to be very careful about your punctuation as well, and I don't want you people to lose marks on your punctuation. Yes, it is on his Ibtisam, Zarnab. Okay. Beta, you're bound to use golden, the word golden, every time you write daffodils, because this is specially used by the poet in the poem. When you're asked to describe the scene, it means that you have to be, as metaphoric as the poet has been, and you have to, dramatize your sentences. Metaphor. You have to write metaphorically. The poet was rendering lonely. One day, the poet was wandering lonely here and there without any purpose or aim. I might not sound as perfect as I might be when I'm writing it, but I'm just telling you people to listen to me carefully and pick each and every tip that I give you, because ninth class and the metric class are the only classes where your teachers teach you this way, and the topics remain the same. You'll be asked to explain the poems in your university level as well, but the way of teaching will be different. At the higher levels, your teachers demands things from you, ठीक है ना? And you've got to write everything that the poet has said in his words, just summarizing it in the in as a prose, and you have to uh, you know keep the details in the answers as well, the details that the poet has used in the poetry. You have to change it into prose, but keeping the same description, keeping the same um, you know uh, art in your prose, and your answer should be explanatory, ठीक है ना? It should explain itself, and there should not be any questions left in the mind of the reader. Alishma beta, please check the spellings of right. Is it right? Is Are your spellings right? These are the mistakes that you people make when you're not paying attention, you're not focusing. And I'm not, God forbid, I'm not, you know, uh, pointing these mistakes because I want to insult you. I literally don't want to. I want you people to learn. That's why I tell you this. And I tell you this as a teacher. I wouldn't go around telling people these things on Instagram or on Facebook if they had made such a mistake. But since it is my responsibility as your teacher to tell you what is right, to tell you, the things to focus upon, that's why I pinpoint these. mistakes. I'm not nitpicking. Trust me. ठीक है ना? Let me check your answers, and then we'll move towards the second stanzas. So fasten your seat belts. The seat was that the poet wandered lonely as a cloud. Yes, Elishba, your answer is very nice. Nida beta, please check if you wanted to write he apostrophe s, or you actually wanted to write his. Ahmad Raza beta, the poet was wandering. The poet was wandering. The poet was rendered is a passive voice, and it is an incorrect passive voice. It doesn't make any sense. सही है ना? The poet either use second form without was, or use was rendering. Rendering. ठीक है ना? Otherwise, your answer is correct. But these are the mistakes that will make you lose marks in your exams, and I don't want you people to lose marks in your board examination, because we talk about when I say exams, you should listen board examination, because वैसे I tell you people not to focus on marks, but in ninth class and in metric class you have to focus on your marks as well, because your mark sheet is the basis of your future. ठीक है ना? That is the fundament of your future studies and your future as well. metric एग्जाम पे ही आपकी जो है वो metric exam is actually the fundament of your future, and पूरी अब जो आप further education हासिल करोगे, that is going to base on it, so this base should be strong. और यहाँ पे you have to think about your exams. 8 तक तो मैं कहती थी बस सीखने के लिए पढ़ें, सीखने के लिए पढ़ें, एग्जाम्स के लिए ना पढ़ें. यहाँ पे आप सीखने वाला टाइम खत्म हो चुका है. हाँ, if there is anything that you find कि ये मुझे अभी सीखना है, उस पर आप फोकस करें, उसको आप अपना एक्सपर्ट करें हर एक फील्ड में, इंग्लिश में, हर एक टॉपिक में, हर सब्जेक्ट में. बट अभी आपको सोचना है कि मुझे कहीं पे भी नंबर लूज नहीं करने. कंपटीशन इज वेरी टफ. ठीक है? और योर रिस्पॉन्स वाज गुड. आई एम ग्लैड टू सी योर रिस्पॉन्स. लेट्स jump on to the next paragraph. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their head in sprightly dance. In the second paragraph, also the poet is in the first line comparing, but this time he's comparing the daffodils with the stars. In the first stanza, he compared himself with the wandering cloud, but in the second stanza, he compared the crowd of daffodils to the stars. He said that the daffodils were as continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way in the skies. Okay? And to show the the abundance of daffodils, the rich number, the great quantity of daffodils, he says that they were stretched in never-ending line. Never ending is something that has no end, that doesn't seem to end. And he says that the line that he saw, the group, the crowd of daffodils that he saw was stretched. Stretched means spread. Was stretched in never ending line, that he could not see the end of the lines of daffodils. And they had stretched along the margin of the bay. Bay is a small part of a lake or a sea. And the daffodils, they were stretched along the margin of the bay. यानी कि झील के किनारे पे they were stretched, and they were stretched in never ending lines. In the second paragraph, the poet is actually he is describing the abundance of the daffodils कि कितने सारे थे, the quantity, the you know that they were there, he saw many daffodils. और यहाँ पे in the last second last verse the poet is saying that he saw 10,000 at a glance. At a glance means एक नजर में, एक झलक में. Glance is a quick look. ठीक है. 10,000 saw I at a glance कि मैंने 10,000 देख ली एक glance में. अब 10,000 is a way of expressing मतलब बहुत ज्यादा नंबर को इन इंग्लिश. ठीक है ना. 10,000 जब भी किसी चीज के बारे में कहा जाए कि 10,000 प्रोमिस किए उसने, एक भी पूरा नहीं किया, 10,000 तुम्हारे झूठ मैंने पकड़े हैं. इन इंग्लिश 10,000, दिस नंबर 10,000 इज यूज्ड एज आप समझ ले ईडीएम के तौर पे यूज होता है टू शो कि आपने कितना ज्यादा एक काम किया. ठीक है ना. So 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Toss कर रहे थे their heads. The poet has here has used figurative language, and he has used the word head for the tops of the daffodils, for the flowers of the daffodils, and their dance was very lively, very full of life, very energetic, very enthusiastic. So is this stanza clear? Should we move on to the question answers? What was the with what does the poet compare the daffodils? किसके साथ compare किया in the second stanza? Now I want one word answer. Nida, yes, correct. Your answer is correct. Alishwa Beg, excellent. I really love the way you people participate, and especially the ones who participate in each and every class. I can't, be more glad. What resemblance does he find between the stars and the daffodils? Just the shine, the twinkling. How many flowers were there? How many flowers were there? Yes, there were many flowers. There were countless flowers. There were 10,000 flowers. And where were these flowers? They were stretched along the margin of the bay. They were stretched along the margin of the bay. Third stanza is the waves beside them danced, but they, who they? The daffodils. But they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. In glee means in happiness. Outdo करना मतलब से बढ़तरी से सबकत ले जाना. To outdo someone means से सबकत ले जाना, से आगे बढ़ जाना, to do better than someone. Okay, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I just put my mic on the sofa and I was very comfortable and I was moving my hands and explaining you people and I didn't even see what I was doing. So have are you people have could you people listen to me? Was I audible enough? Okay, that's good. Thank God. Anyway, outdo का आपको पहले दो sentences की पहले दो verses की this sentence in a poem is a verse. Is that clear? They outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Sparkling waves, कौन सी waves थी? Obviously the daffodils, they were beside the lake. So the waves were of the lake. A poet could not be but could not but be gay. Gay is happy. In English literature, literal meaning is happy. In such a jocund company, jocund is lively company, happy company. I gazed. अब पहले हमने glance पढ़ा था, which means a quick look. Gaze is a thorough look. ठीक है ना. घूरना किसी जगह को, किसी चीज को is a gaze, is to gaze. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. That poet here says that he kept looking at the flowers because the company was very nice, the scene was very beautiful, but he did not. Uh, but he did not realize that he was actually gaining a wealth by looking at the flowers. ठीक है, I have which of the two danced more, the waves or the daffodils? Who danced more and who danced better? Yes, exactly, the daffodils. And what did the poet feel looking at the daffodils? How did he feel? What did he feel? He felt happy. He felt happiness. ठीक है ना, what के लिए will use happiness, because obviously we're asking for a noun. And how के लिए we will use adjective. He felt happy. How can wealth come to the poet by looking at the scene before him? इसका आंसर हमें नेक्स्ट स्टेंजा में मिलेगा. Already we have studied this stanza, so it's fine. You can answer this question, but please be quick because we've got almost 5 minutes left. I'll like I'll read the last paragraph and then we can do the question answer session. Okay. For oft is shortened shrink form of, shrunk form of often, and often is also the various pronunciation of often. For oft, when on my couch I lie, कि जब भी the poet he is lying on his couch in vacant or in pensive mood, means that whenever he is lying on his couch, it doesn't matter if his mind is occupied with thoughts or his mind is free of thoughts. Vacant means free of something, pensive means full of thoughts. They flash. What flash? The sight of daffodils. The daffodils, they flash upon that inward eye. The inward eye means whenever you look, you're thinking about something and a movie in your mind starts playing. That sense, that ability to memorize, to recall things and play them as a movie in your mind is the inward eye. Your inward eye does that. Okay, so the memory of the daffodils, it flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. Bliss is happiness, solitude is the state of being alone. Whenever the uh, poet is alone, and the memory of daffodils, it brings happiness, it brings bliss to him. And then my heart with pleasure fills, means when then the heart of the poet, it fills with pleasure, with happiness, and when recalling the scene even gives him happiness, and dances with the daffodils. And my heart also dances with the daffodils. That means that the heart becomes happy, and he yet again he enjoys the scene fully, and he lives the memory one more time. Is that clear? Is that clear? What happens to the poet when he lies on his couch? Mention the two moods of the poet. What are the two moods? The pensive mood and the vacant mood. How can the heart dance? That is obviously the figurative language. The poet has used the figurative language, obviously. Keep answering me. I'll read your answers. Ashel, excellent. And the last one is, has this ever happened to you? Have you ever recalled a memory and you became happy with this? Thinks about this. Dua Kashif, excellent. Okay, your task is to actually, you know, think about something happy that has happened to you and try to feel what the poet has felt. If you have been to a hill station or if you've been to the seaside and you had been through happy times there, you try to recall it and try to connect your feeling with the feeling of the poet, and then try to realize what wealth the happy memory brings to you, the happy scene that you have lived brings to you. Okay, is the poem clear? I believe that I have this thing in deep inside my heart. I feel that this poem is something आपको अब रट गई होगी, should be on your fingertips now. And this is it of today's lecture. We'll meet tomorrow morning, inshallah. I'll give you the written work of daffodils today. So, try to attempt it. Try maintaining your index and assignment wise. Okay? Date should be there, topic should be there. And this is it. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz, everyone.